Welcome back to Living Local. Dr. Jeffrey A. Barnes is a best-selling author and world-renowned Disney keynote speaker on the life and lessons of Walt Disney, preaching the gospel of how a few simple choices can lead to greatness. And joining us via Zoom is Dr. Disneyland himself, Dr. Jeff Barnes. Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing great. Good morning, Tristan.
Yes.
And it's great to join you and your viewers from sunny Southern California.
Yeah, man, I'm so happy you're here. Like I said before we started recording, I'm a huge fan of you and your book. I have it right here. And, you know, your story is so fascinating. And could you tell us in an elevator pitch sort of way what led you to where you are today?
So I don't see the Disney parks as just an escape. I see them as an example. And I don't see Disney as just a destination where your dreams can come true. I believe it is the place showing you how to make your own dreams come true. Mm-hmm. And so I turned that into an accredited college course. I've turned it into 2 best-selling books. And now I travel the country and the world giving keynote speeches, challenging audiences to take what they love about Disney, go out and live their own great story.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. And you started with The Wisdom of Walt, which seems like a daunting book to start with. So what led you to, begin with this particular book?
So, this is the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company, but a lot of people don't realize it's also the 100th anniversary of Walt going bankrupt with his first studio in the Midwest, Kansas City, Missouri. And instead of giving up, he boarded a train for California. And Tristan, he boarded that train with $40, a single suitcase, and a one-way ticket. And so for me, it's about that story. It's about that story of failure. It's about that story of boarding the train, going all in. And then over and over and over again, Walt faced difficulty, he faced adversity, he faced obstacles. And that's not just the story of Walt's life. My guess is it's the story of your life. It's the story of my life. It's the story of every listener and viewer today. And so again, I just wanted to tap into what we all love about Disney and use that to help all of us level up in our own life and our own story. Yeah,
and you know, one of my favorite things in the book is the failure aspect too, because I love learning about, rags to riches type situations. But you talk of finding your park bench essentially in one of the chapters. And can you touch on that philosophy and how that came to be?
Yeah, so Walt's dream for Disneyland started when he would take his young daughters to Griffith Park here in Los Angeles, and they would ride the merry-go-round, and poor Walt, he would just sit on a nearby bench eating peanuts. And one Saturday afternoon, he had an idea, well, why isn't there a place where the parents and the children can have fun together? And that's how Disneyland actually began. And what I'm convinced of is that every one of us has some sort of idea, a crazy thought, some kind of dream. It might not change the world the way that Disneyland did, but it would at least change our world. We just need the courage to get up off of our park bench and start taking action.
Yeah, and something you talk about too is, you talk a lot about how sometimes you don't have to have the plan, you just need to just go. And I absolutely love that. And so your next book, Beyond the Wisdom of Walt, is available now too. Now, what sparked that idea?
So, I was just shocked at the success of the first book, and I heard from folks on the East Coast, particularly fans of Walt Disney World, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. What about us? What about Walt Disney World? And I, sort of like Walt never believed in sequels. He always said there would never be another Disneyland. And after finally writing the first book, I'm like, I'm never doing that again. Well, as soon as you say never or always, you're kind of screwed, right? Well, because of the success of the first book, my publisher then wanted a second or a follow-up book. And I realized there were equal, if not greater, stories based on how the company got Walt Disney World going following Walt's untimely death in December of 1966. They didn't even break ground in Florida until 6 months after Walt passed. And so that became sort of the seminal story for the second book. And now I write and speak full time. I have a third book coming out this year. And again, once you get started, you have no idea where any of these journeys are going to take you.
Yeah, and I love your story, and I love the book so much. It's really helped me through, and listen to you on various podcasts is just fascinating. So I really appreciate you doing this. And I could talk to you all day, but our time is limited here on the show today. But luckily for our viewers, you've appeared on countless podcasts and have some incredible content online. And how can people find you and learn more about you, sir?
So you can find me at thewisdomofwalt.com. And my accredited college course on the history of Disneyland is now available to anyone online around the world. In fact, it's available right now on a Disney 100th anniversary special.
Awesome.
And if you're interested in the books, if you're interested in a keynote presentation or a workshop, again, just find me, wisdomofwalt.com. And I have a free motivational, inspirational newsletter that goes out every single Wednesday, Wednesdays with Walt. And again, it's 100% free, and it's a way to get you inspired and motivated based on Walt's story and stories from the Disney parks each and every Wednesday.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for doing this today. I know you're a busy dude, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Tristan. Never stop dreaming, my friend.
Thanks, man. For more information, you can visit thewisdomofwalt.com. We'll have all those details posted at ourquadcities.com. More Living Local continues after the break. Stay with us.